question becomes, why do you think there are so many people who call themselves environmentalists who are pushing these bright green lies? And maybe even more importantly, why are there so many people who call themselves environmentalists who really believe them? What do you think has gone wrong here? And how can we kind of shift it to a better direction?
I think the core reason for this is that we have this mythology in our culture of progress. And that mythology informs so much of our culture going back hundreds, probably thousands of years. I mean, I think you can draw a direct line from the people who thought the westward expansion of European colonization was manifest destiny, and the idea that green technology is going to save the planet, that it represents a progression forward. But all of these ideas rely on the underlying assumption that we need progress, and that usually looks like the progress of business, the progress of industry, the advancement of technology, or what some people call technological escalation. So, the second reason I think that these lies have become so popular is because we've been seduced by, what Lewis Mumford called the magnificent bribe. Even people who are living at the poverty line in a modern industrial society have levels of energy and material goods available to them at the snap of their fingers that are literally unthinkable a few generations ago, unimaginable. The idea that you can click a button and have people deliver food to you, that you can have almost any product you want delivered to your doorstep in 1 or 2 days, that you can access the accumulated knowledge of the world in your pocket. These things are obviously extremely unusual in the history of our species. And we live in a society that's addicted to energy. People are so used to unlimited food, modern luxury housing, swift transportation, instantaneous communication, endless amounts of entertainment. Mumford calls this the magnificent bribe that threatens to wipe out every other vestige of democracy. And what he means by that essentially is that, this is not only undermining our sort of moral character and fiber as individuals, it's not normal or healthy for human beings to be sort of spoiled in the way that people in modern culture are, but also the process by which those things are provided to us is undermining the existence of life itself on this planet. 90% of the large fish in the oceans are gone. This culture is changing the entire climate of the planet. Songbird populations are collapsing. 98% of the old growth forests are gone. 99% of the prairies are gone. Plankton populations, who provide 2/3 of the oxygen we breathe, have collapsed by 40% since 1950. I think another reason why these lies are so prevalent is because it's really easy. People want an easy answer to their problem. And you can't open up a newspaper these days without seeing the headlines about global warming, about all those issues that I just mentioned. Lauryn Hill, the musician, once said, "Fantasy is what people want, but reality is what they need." The problems that we're facing, they are complex, they're multifaceted, they've developed over centuries and thousands of years. They're not going to be solved by just waving the magic wand of technology and everything's okay. But people don't really want to hear that. Like Lauryn Hill said, fantasy is what people want, but reality is what they need. And I think the third reason why these lies are so successful is marketing and the corporate capture of the environmental movement. If you are willing to say that solar panels will save the world, you can get funded as an environmental movement. You can get grants, you can get foundation money, you can get a $50,000 check, you can get a $200,000 check, you can get a lot more than that. In an early draft of Bright Green Lies, we write a great deal about the influence of the money on these movements. And a lot of this had to be cut actually just for reasons of length, but we're going to be releasing some of that material as articles and as standalone pieces. And part of what we wrote about in the segment was the sort of collusion and the increasing relationships between these large mainstream environmental organizations and the business world, the business community. I mean, if you look at an organization like the Nature Conservancy, they have a list of corporate partners that, you know, includes major banks, it includes, you know, major agricultural companies like Cargill and Monsanto and Archer Daniels Midland. It includes companies like Caterpillar that literally make the bulldozers that are used to destroy the planet. They're working with these companies and they're getting a lot of money from them in exchange for helping these companies look more sustainable. And, you know, there's a revolving door situation going on here, just like there is in the military industrial complex, where politicians get out of office and they go right to work in these defense contractors that they provided major government contracts to while they were in office, and vice versa. You see the same thing between these, you know, large environmental groups and the so-called green businesses, which really is an oxymoron and is such a widely misused term these days. It should be completely ignored. But, you know, there's a lot of money to be made in these green technology solutions, quote unquote. And that's not just money to be made by corporations and industry. There's also money to be made by environmental groups. People can make a really good career out of promoting these technologies, and you know, and that's what we're seeing. So I think those are three reasons why these lies are so widespread. And I think we believe them because advertising works. You know, marketing works. That's why they spend hundreds of billions of dollars every year on advertising campaigns and marketing, is because it works. It convinces people. You know, we've all seen the TV ads for electric cars, and the family is driving through the forest and they have their windows down and the beautiful autumn trees outside, and it's very quiet and there's no pollution coming out of the tailpipe. I mean, it's a beautiful vision, but it's a fantasy, it's fiction, right? It's a created story. But that marketing campaign has been incessant for decades now, and it's been very effective. So we need to push back against those narratives, and our hope is that the book will help do that.